When I think about embedded insurance, I think about embedded intelligence. These next generations are really going to expect the way that they live their life, that insurance should model that to you.
Sure.
And I'm going to choose. I want to choose when I want to talk to you. I want to choose when I want to deal with this. The digital adjuster and the human adjuster, there'll be choices of how, the claimant wants to work in that particular instance. And so I really think we're going to evolve with that.
Welcome to the Elevating Leaders series, where we go beyond the headlines and straight to the people who are redefining insurtech and business transformation. We've caught up with the visionaries and the pioneers that are currently driving the industry forward, bringing you exclusive insights, strategies, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. If you're ready to go deeper, this is your front row seat to the future of insurance. I'm Miguel Edwards, and this is 5 Minutes. All right, Heather, thank you so much for joining me here on an episode of 5 Minutes, taking a great amount of time out of your busy schedule here at ITC, and it's great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having Clara.
Absolutely, love it, and so excited to get into the conversation around AI, because that's at the heart of what you do.
It is.
But before we jump into that, I always like to ask all of my guests, what sucked you into the insurance vortex? Was it a planned event, or is it something that, again, was just accidental set of circumstances that got you into this industry that won't let go of you?
Sure, thanks for the question. So I was the head of information and strategy at Kaiser Permanente. So again, provider, payer, operating model. So worked on the payer side and constantly getting the provider of the Kaiser Permanente side onto things that we wanted to build. Again, years ago, different ways, techniques, not where we are now, but got me into that. I was a chief data officer at AIG, and so when you understand the amount of data, when you understand what it takes to build the type of AI applications, any type of analytical applications that we deliver for our clients and the capabilities, it's hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work. And so I really made a commitment to myself when I left AIG that I would add not just this buy versus build, but it's called a partner. It's buy, build, partner.
Right.
And so I really wanted to find a way to help to accelerate and be on this side and help the carriers. And then the really pivotal moment for me is I worked in a self-insured. And when you are sitting there and watch injured workers coming out on stretchers, getting in ambulances, you wonder, what's the rest of the story?
Sure.
From a care perspective, from a treatment perspective, from an insurance perspective.
Yeah.
And when you understand the dynamic of a chief risk officer and a self-insured working with a TPA, you really want to help them. Help them have visibility, open up that black box, give them a window to help them be a part, have a voice in the case, and direct the case with the TPA. That's an employee.
Sure.
That's an employee that has a family, needs to think about, it's not just a case, it's thinking about getting back to work, getting back to a healthy state. And so I became very passionate about joining Clara because of those instances of watching, whether it was the driver of the trucks, it was the distribution center worker getting hurt. There's a part that we play here, and I wanted to be a part of that.
I love that, Heather. And at a time where insurance is facing so much demonization, the fact that you've put this kind of very emotional face on it in terms of what the purpose of insurance actually is.
That's right.
It's just in time.
That's right. And you have to think about bad things happen in our life. And I really believe insurance is because of claims.
Yeah.
So the existence of insurance is because of claims.
Sure.
It's not because of underwriting.
Right.
It's because something bad happens in our lives, in a personal environment, in a commercial environment. And what do? It's an emotional event. And we need to reach out to our insurance partner.
Yeah.
And that's where, at the end of the day, when we think about our AI applications, we think about the adjuster. Okay, the adjuster has 100 or 200 cases that they are dealing with, and you still want them to have empathy for a claimant who's going through an emotional event. So what does that mean? That means you need to take some of the cognitive load off of an adjuster.
Got it.
Because you want their experience to come through. You want their experience of dealing with cases, of how to service that case. And so an augmented intelligence on the side that's every day triaging this case and giving them the data, the analytics at their fingertips. So when they need to have the summarization of the case, when the claimant comes in, when they need to know the next best action on that case, it's right there at their fingertips. So they feel confident. They're not in a gray area, okay? It's black and white. You've got your data. You can be the emotional IQ can be there as well with them. And so we think about that adjuster because, when the cases are being treated, when the cases unfortunately get to a litigation space, it goes to a gray area.
Yeah.
And that's where, it comes to a place where the adjuster's like, okay, I'm dealing with plaintiff law firms out there that I need help. I need to know who I need to choose for a defense against this plaintiff law firm. I need to understand what's going on in these legal demand packages. What are they asking of me? What are they demanding? I got to go through all these documents.
Yeah.
AI plays a part here. It's an augmented intelligence sitting right next to them that they can trust and they advise. Right now, there's so much leakage that's happening, the inefficiencies that are happening in our systems, the manual errors that are happening, the legacy systems. The lost cost, the exposure, it's getting to be too much. We have to have augmented intelligence, especially with the cliff happening, with the adjusters retiring. The new generations, they don't want to look at black and green screens. They want beautiful UIs. They want tools. And I call it embedded intelligence. We have this amazing ecosystem. It's complicated, right? It's maturing, and it's getting even more sophisticated. But at Clara, we believe the intelligence systems need to connect seamlessly across all of us, right? The core system, the TPA, the broker, all these different vendors, the medical bill reviewers, right? The legal reviewers, the AI applications. We got to work together.
Yeah.
We've got to connect. This intelligence systems need to seamlessly flow data in order to provide that decision support across. We all have to work together.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here.
There's a theme that I'm hearing, Heather, in your narrative, and it's kind of centered around a very interesting play that I think you've put on the term AI, and you're calling it augmented intelligence as opposed to artificial intelligence, which to me tells me that you're angling for really kind of celebrating how AI is a partnership.
It is.
And it's not a replacement.
That's right. So we value the adjuster, the claim handler, the claim supervisor. Keep that experience right there in front of the claimant. Keep that experience right there in front of the case. But they are humans, and to triage 200 cases on a daily basis, I think about it as a CEO. If I had augmented intelligence and I woke up in the morning and it told me these sales accounts, these particular clients, this is happening on your balance sheet, I'd be like, okay, 1, 2, 3. We're shifting the paradigm of the diary based to when you log in the morning, whether it's in your core system or you're using the standalone Clara application, the models are telling you these are the 5-10 cases that we believe need your human experience attention. That could be the claimant we're sensing in the unstructured adjuster notes, they don't want to return to work. The claimant is seeing a physician that we believe is scored at a C or D, and maybe you should refer them to one of the A or B in our repository. Listen, there's propensity, we're feeling the sentiment of litigation. Maybe you should reach out to the claimant and have a settlement. Look at our settlement model. Or guess what? This particular case has gone to a higher severity. Here's why it's gone to a higher severity. Maybe something's happened in the compensation or in the comp case, okay? Maybe there's an additional injury that has surfaced that you need to go look at. Maybe something's happened to medication. There's so many nuances in these cases. These are humans. 200 cases. That's crazy.
It's a big load.
It's a big load. So how do we bring augmented intelligence to complement that amazing claims handler that needs to be present when that particular claimant needs their help?
I love it. One of the things I want to clarify here is, Heather, that you're talking about AI, and it's here from my perspective, as I'm hearing you talk about Clara. I mean, everything that I've been hearing about is kind of the future, and
it's here.
It's here now.
It's here, and so is Gen AI. So I'll give you some examples. So when we think about triaging a case, okay, our models, it's like a doctor who's been in practice for 40 years, they probably can look at the symptoms after 40 years of being in practice and go, I think it's probably this.
Right.
Our models have learned for 12 years. We have millions and millions of comp cases, auto cases, general liability cases in there.
Right.
They've learned. And so they know when a new case comes in after first notice of loss, we've seen that case somewhere
Sure.
over the last 12 years. We know what the potential predicted cost could be. We know the length that this case could be. We put it on its optimal path. We know what this loss could be, and we try to help the adjuster keep it on that path.
Got it.
Okay? It's like a GPS. You know your route from wherever you are to home usually, okay? But what you don't know ahead, there's traffic. There's a cop.
Right.
There's an accident.
Yep.
That's what we do. We stay in front of the cases and tell them the propensity of something is going to happen. We're predicting that something is going to happen in that case that the human eye is not going to see across 200 cases.
Sure.
But models can predict these things because our models have been for the last 12 years. So the augmented intelligence is constantly on a daily basis. Data comes in. If it senses a delta in the case, it's surfacing an alert. It's surfacing an insight. It's surfacing the explainability, the next best action,
Right.
and the different routes that you could take, just like that GPS.
Yeah.
So the augmented intelligence, artificial intelligence, it's here now.
Yep.
And it's very smart because those machine models have millions of cases that it's already learned. So that compensation case, we've seen that knee injury.
Right.
We've seen that spine injury, okay? That auto case, right? That driver, right? No matter if there's fatalities, where it's happened, we've seen that case. In that jurisdiction, we know exactly how it's settled.
Right.
We know that particular lawyer has gone against this defense. We know how they've settled. We know the type of theories that they're using, reptile theory and nuclear verdicts. We can tell you. We can even pick up in Gen AI that they're using one of those litigation finance firms, okay? And that puts a heavier weight. You may need a more senior adjuster on that to deal with it. Gen AI is here as well. And what does that mean? That means in a case, there are thousands of pages of documents that are associated. Can you imagine printing those out and using your highlighter? You already have 100 cases.
Yeah.
You're talking about thousands of pages associated with those cases.
You won't get the consistency, the quality. You won't get it.
You won't get it.
Yeah.
So what do? Right? In a matter of minutes, we're processing it. Yes, we're summarizing it, but we're finding the nuances in there.
Sure.
Okay? If it's a legal demand package, is there bad faith? Okay? What are they demanding? What is the term limits they're putting on there? Okay?
Right.
And raising that, scoring it, because not every legal demand package is a low score. Okay? There's some that are very high score. Then what are the medical documents that are in there too? A matter of minutes, we're putting this, we're summarizing it, we're putting it, sorting it, indexing it. You can search it. We're raising up the insights, the alerts. It's here.
I love it.
It's here, and it's augmented to what, it's taking a manual process that's inefficient. That's where the leakage is coming from right now.
Sure.
Okay? Look at the workflow. We are the intelligent layer to the core system. So think about the core system right now, okay? It's got its purpose.
Sure.
Right? But now the intelligent layer on top of that has its role over top of the record.
Right.
That source record, we're the source of intelligence. We're like an auditor to the accountants, okay? We're gonna tell you what's going on in there and surface it up, okay? It's hard to do that as an accountant sometimes.
Sure.
That's what an internal and external auditor is doing.
For sure.
And that's what we do in the right purposeful way for that claim and for that case. And so what I see is the core systems are trying to figure out, okay, how do we need to work with this intelligence layer? Okay, and I think the definition of core is changing too. If you don't think of the intelligent layer with this source of intelligence, with the source of record from the core system, they got to work together now.
Yeah.
They have to, because you have your role and we have our role. And we need to come together in this ecosystem, and then everybody else too that's around us.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I heard earlier in our discussion you talked about Clara's standalone offering, and then now I think I hear something about an integrated offering. So
Yes.
do you operate in both modes?
We do. We're agnostic to any
Okay.
core system.
Okay.
We already have integrations with Guidewire and Origami. Obviously, they're large in both of those spaces.
Yeah.
But if a carrier or self-insured is working with another core system, like, there's the data.
Yep.
We just need our hands on the data, and
Yep.
that's what we care about. And I want to go back to something that I started a little bit talking about leakage and
Yeah.
talking about artificial intelligence use cases. So, there's a couple of areas we find really inefficient that we drive 2 to 5% loss cost. So our ROI, we're giving you back 5x to 10x in the first year. Okay, and we know these
Why
loss
do you not
costs.
do this?
Exactly, right? So where are we finding the leakage? So one is, listen, after F&OL and that case comes in, the assignment to the right adjuster based on their productivity, based on their experience, based on them being able to, have the ability to demand or to deal with some of these high complex claims, you got to get it right.
Yeah.
That is leakage right there. Having to, reassign, you're losing operational efficiency, you're losing the opportunity to settle because, right? So one of our clients, they were changing assignments 97% of the time. We've got it down to 8%, okay? Wow. Okay, and also bringing their claims close days in, we've brought that in by 7 days, okay?
Right.
Again, taking operational efficiency. Another area that we find is just the opportunity of sub-row and fraud, okay? Like, it's hard to find fraud by a human, right?
Sure.
Because there's relationships. There's relationships with medical providers and legal providers and an adjuster sometimes, okay? How do you find that relationship mapping?
Humans don't see those patterns.
Humans don't
Yeah.
see those patterns,
Right.
okay? And sometimes we need to break the patterns of an adjuster. Going to the same medical profession, going to the same, that's not always the right thing for the case,
Right.
okay? And so giving them other options. But again, fraud and even sub-row. How do you know? Risk transfer. How do you know the opportunity to recover? It's a lost opportunity.
Yeah.
And those documents are details that a human can miss. Model's not missing it. And the models have gotten so accurate because they've learned. Listen, a year and a half ago, my Gen AI models on legal demand packages were spitting out peanut butter and jelly. Okay? They weren't spitting out what they're spitting out now.
Right.
85% accuracy. They needed time to learn.
Sure.
And, so a bunch of carriers gave us their documents, their demand packages, and they allowed our models to learn and get to this place, where we are. But we have a lot of leakage. And that's where the opportunity to apply this augmented intelligence to these areas of inefficiencies will help both the carrier, but is it a lift for the adjuster? Absolutely,
Yeah.
to have a second set of eyes.
Sure. It's massive change management.
It's massive change management.
And is that Heather, in your opinion, is that where most of the friction lies?
That's a great question. Where is the friction?
Where is the friction?
Listen, it's all in the data.
Okay.
It's all in the data. So we make it easy on our clients. And I really purposely did this because of my experience at AIG. I remember how long it took for me to build models, to go in and to build fraud applications. And that was only a little bit of the claims data, right? I mean, I used to sit on a mound of data, but I had spaghetti.
Sure.
Spaghetti of upstream product processors and then the data everywhere. We make it very easy for our clients. We do the hard work for them because we know that whether it's the lake house or wherever their data is sourced, just tell it where it is. Tell us where it is. We will put the pipes, and we know the attributes that we know. We know the fields that we need. We'll clean it up for you. We'll give you an assessment. We'll tell you an index of the fill rates. We'll tell you what's missing, and we'll do a little bit of feedback back and forth till we get it to the right place.
Sure.
And you should know. You really need to know what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
Okay? We get it fit for purpose for the models. We do all the normalization, the standardization. We clean it up. We do all of that.
Wow.
And we onboard in 6 to 8 weeks. It has to be ready for the models, but
Yep.
I know, having lived that, I know what they can
yeah.
and can't do.
Yeah, it's a lift.
Let me take that. Let me
Right.
take that on for you. So I think most of them think, first of all, oh my gosh, Heather, I know my data, the integrity, the quality of it. I'm like, don't worry about it. I got you. I got you. Okay, let's go to therapy on the next thing, right? Therapy on the next thing, because listen, I may be a claims AI platform, but half the time I'm a claims therapist. I really do. I pull up the couch on the Zoom. I'm like, let's talk. Let's talk about this. What's your burning platform? And we're going to help you.
Yeah.
So I think the second thing that's happening a lot is AI governance. Everyone has an AI ethics person in their organization now, and they have an AI governance board. So how do we make sure that we are testing for bias all the time?
Sure.
We do that. We do not bring in PII data into our models. We know that's protected. We don't need it. It's the bodily injury that's we care about, and it keeps us in a non-bias, but we are constantly making sure our models are good. The other thing that we do is we say non-prescriptive. So when I told you about the GPS that gives you 3 routes, guess what? We give you 3 routes.
You got to pick.
You got to pick.
Yeah.
You pick as the adjuster, right? This is your case, and that's why the human experience is still so, needed. So the different routes will give you the cost. The different routes may give you, listen, you can bring in the claims day by doing this. You choose what's right for you as the adjuster, for the carrier, and for the claimant. So we stay non-prescriptive. The other thing that's really big is we stay up to date on all the regulatory items that are going in state by state.
Right, all the NCCI stuff.
All the NCCI stuff. So we constantly, our data science team is making sure that we understand all that's happening, and we have those guardrails. But when you grow up in insurance, you're used to that. I mean, I used to sit in front of 180 regulators at AIG.
Right.
And so it's just a part of doing business. And we also just make sure, I have the former CTO of the FBI as my CTO.
There you go.
Right? So you can trust.
Tech stack secure.
Tech stack secure. You can make sure that is also taken care of.
Love that. So as you look into your crystal ball, Heather, 18, 24 months out, as you're watching in the industry, the acceleration of the adoption of AI in different use cases, what's your roadmap look like? What are you thinking about in terms of the next evolution for either just the industry in general or for Clara in specific?
So I made a statement that we all need to work together in this ecosystem. We all play a role. It's very interesting, right? How we're complicated. I think there's a place where there's going to have to be some converging. Okay. When I look at insurtech, so there's a lot of insurtechs that are out there that are point solutions, and it's an integration game and a data game. So with integration, the carriers and self-insurance can only integrate so much. It's hard, okay? And a lot of them, they're doing their upgrades, they're going to the cloud, which will make it easier. I really think that a lot of them, and this is where we play, we're an end-to-end AI platform, okay? And it's hard to work with 100 insurtechs. And so I think there's going to slowly be a convergence, whether we start to merge a little bit inside of ourselves with insurtechs, because we really believe in one platform, one UI, one integration.
Okay.
And so, and that even means, we're the headless app. So if you have a model that you want to use internally on our application, our platform, we do that as a headless app. So I think that's one thing. I think it's really confusing for a lot of the carriers on the buy side of having so many of us. I think there's gonna be a convergence on that front of it, whether it's the PE firms that thread us together, or the carriers do something on that side of it, right? So I think that's one thing that needs to happen.
There'll probably be a bunch that fizzle out too.
There'll be a bunch that just don't make it, right? I think that's one thing. I think the second thing is, finally, there's an adoption that's happening. I see a lot of the carriers jumping in on the document intelligence. It's safe for them. The adjusters feel like, okay, you're not taking my job away. Oh my goodness, you really are helping me. But I think the adjusters are starting to feel like, okay, like our application, you aren't taking my job away. You still want me there. You still need my experience. But the chief claims officers have to even go beyond that and go to the next generations and go, listen, you're not losing your job. We need human in the loop, but I got the next set of generations that I've got to bring these tools in. So I think, we're going to see even more adoption, and because the financial outcomes that they're dealing with right now with claims expenses, you remember a day when everyone would just accept the claim expense. Oh, that's okay. We're used to that big old 800-pound, over there, bringing that in. That's not the case anymore. They're not just the operational head, the chief claims officer. They have to own the financials of that lost cost and those claims expenses. And that dynamic is changing too, where I see them starting to look for solutions as well. I think a big change is going to be just in the automation. So we really talk about on our platform, you're going to have all the techniques. You're going to have business intelligence in there. You need to know where you are right now, okay? And then the next one, you're going to have, okay, I'm predicting. I'm telling you the options of what could happen, and I'm telling you, why this could happen. So you're going to have that in there. Then you're going to have the Gen AI in there that's explaining why this is going to happen. We actually think people are just going to keep on automating and automating and automating to the point, especially in personal, there's going to just be a digital adjuster at some point, right? I mean, in personal auto right now, you can pretty much get through a claims experience without the human in the loop for some very low touch claims.
For sure.
Commercial could obviously get there at some point too by all the models and all the techniques getting to that place, and really you're just dealing with a bot at some point and a bunch of models that just know you and can answer your questions and can take in voice and take in text, right? I think we're going to get to that place at some point, but that doesn't mean the adjuster's ever going to. I think there's an option, right? Like when I think about embedded insurance, I think about embedded intelligence, not embedded insurance from purchasing from that piece. I think that these next generations are really going to expect the way that they live their life, that insurance should model that to you. And I'm going to choose. I want to choose when I want to talk to you. I want to choose when I want to deal with this. So I think the digital adjuster and the human adjuster, there'll be choices of how the claimant wants to work in that particular instance. And so I really think we're going to evolve with that. And when I talk about our platform, we're using all these techniques, right? You've got to do reporting. You do the analytics, right? You're doing the predictive analytics. Then you're doing the Gen AI. We do all of that in our platform. You just have to. It's the way that you do business.
100%.
And I don't want people to think, oh, all you do is the Gen AI. No, you have to do all of it, right? There's still business rules in there. I mean, it's just, you have to be able to work all angles to deliver a platform like ours.
I love it. Heather, this has been such an incredible education for me on so many fronts.
Thank you.
I've got one last question that's a quasi joke.
Yeah, sure.
When do you bring this to property in Florida?
Oh boy, never.
Because as a Floridian, we need this type of solution, and we need it bad. So, yeah, 100%.
It's interesting. I get asked all the time if we would go into property.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can on a BI perspective.
Yeah.
But the whole CAT modeling.
Yeah, that's a gnarly spot.
That is just a tough spot.
Yeah.
I remember when Hurricane Sandy, so I had just started with AIG a few weeks, and I remember it decimated
for sure,
downtown Manhattan,
100%,
and AIG was there. I mean, we couldn't go back for months because the elevators,
Yep.
they didn't pull the elevators
No.
up. They kept them down, right? And everything was just a mess. I remember the analysts were asking the CEO, what's your exposure? What's your exposure? And he's like, Heather, I don't know if it's $1 billion or $2 billion. I don't know.
Wow.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like I just would never want an AI model. It would never.
Yeah, it'd be tough to get.
That's
that
why
one.
meteorologists are like, what could be here or here?
Where's your cone of uncertainty?
Right?
How many miles is that? Yeah,
and people would get upset with my accuracy on that part, and then they wouldn't trust us anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about trust. I mean, if you think about, I'm their first. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
I am their first AI marriage.
That's right.
I'm their first.
That's right.
That means trust.
For sure.
And that's a lot that we have to, to deal with to deliver on our outcomes. But I'm their first most of the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Heather, thank you so much again for making this investment of time. This has been, again, an incredible education. Learned a ton about AI, learned a ton about what Clara brings to the market.
Thank you.
And I hope to get an opportunity to follow up with you again as your roadmap continues to develop.
I'd love to do that.
And have you back.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.